Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me in the booth tonight will be Wyatt Canadle, and we will be utilizing camera angles provided by Dougie Beard. Tonight is the ShineMSD Healing Through the Arts 150, featuring the trucks here at Daytona. Daytona is a legendary track filled with action and plenty of space to let it all play out. Expect to see a lot of slingshot moves, a bit of shake and bake, and drivers trying out every single lane on this racetrack. Wyatt Canadle, welcome to the broadcast tonight. Why don't you take this time now to tell us a little bit more about Daytona and some of the action we might see out on the racetrack?
Well, thank you for welcoming me in, Robert. It is good to be here. I'm excited for tonight. This is one of NASCAR's most famous tracks. It's Daytona Beach, Florida. This is a 2.5-mile track. Everyone knows that. But here's where it gets a little crazy, okay? We've got a yellow line rule. You cannot pass below the yellow line on this track. On top of that, it's a big track, as I mentioned, 2.5 miles. But it's not the widest track on the planet. And these trucks are going to be side by side. They're going to be nose to tail. And we're going to see a lot of pack racing here tonight. High banked corners. Not so much in the straightaways, but the real tricky part here is going to be that tri-oval. The tri-oval has a little bit of banking, and it's going to set these trucks off uncomfortable as these tires wear, so it's going to be really interesting to see tonight.
Yeah, most definitely, as we do get set here. Qualifying has just wrapped up. We'll take a look at the starting grid here in a moment, Wyatt. But, from your experience, what's one thing that these drivers are going to have to try to avoid, especially during this drafting process?
Well, I think it's going to be the inevitable big one. This is what's talked about every time you come to a super speedway like Daytona or Talladega, but mainly at Daytona. With the banking on these corners and the track not being super wide, you got to watch out for the wrecks, because when the wrecks happen, it tends to collect as many trucks or vehicles on the track at one time as it possibly can. It gets very tricky to find real estate on the track to avoid these wrecks.
Absolutely. Just a little bit of a note here for everyone watching at home. Tonight's event is 60 laps around Daytona International Speedway. We are utilizing a fixed setup here tonight, and these guys, a lot of them have not raced with each other before. Some have, so it'll be interesting to see the development of the race as we go. But Wyatt, let's take a look at our starting grid tonight and see who is going to lead us to the green flag. And it does look like the 27 of Sean Stevens on the front row there, alongside Marcus Ludovico. Row number 2, we see Jason Chilton and Robert Smith, with Glenn Fagan rounding out the top 5. Thomas Nadeau, David Grantham, Kenny Zeems, Blake Massengill, and Ken Zeems rounding out the top 10.
And in the 11th position, we have Hunter Gogagan, 12th Kyle Campbell, Aaron Brown, Scott Rickard, Philip Rush, Cash James, Eric Heater, Spencer Torrance, Jake Finch, and rounding out the top 20 is Drew Bernardi.
William Kruska, Timothy Groff, Edgar Uribe, Jamie Smith, Russell Peets, and Evan Lambert rounding out the field here tonight. 26 trucks around this Daytona International Speedway, so going to be very interesting to follow along, see how things go here tonight, Wyatt, as we do see the field grid on the grid right now doing a pace lap. Of course, Sean Stevens out front right now in his beautiful truck. Just a note, tonight is the ShineMSD 150, and just a little bit about ShineMSD. They are a charity focusing on bringing healing to the victims and families of Parkland and Stoneman Douglas High School shootings. So definitely a great cause to support here tonight. This foundation does have core values of integrity, community, and good stewardship as well. They have Operate Camp Shine, a summer program focusing on art therapy in the South Florida communities. So this is definitely a great event for us tonight. We will be having a lap of silence on lap 17 tonight, just out of respect for those that were lost in that shooting. But pace car now coming to the pit lane. He will be making that sharp left-hand turn and setting the field free in the hands of Sean Stevens. Barney the flagman does have the green flag in hand, and we are underway here at Daytona in the ShineMSD 150, Wyatt.
Yeah, and as we were actually pacing right there while you were explaining everything, I saw some contact between the 7 truck and the 14, I believe. Not sure what that was about, but the trucks seem to be okay, so I'm hoping that they don't have any damage. That might cause an issue for this pack early.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, we definitely want to avoid any potential incidents early on as we see some shuffling here. Blake Massengill on the apron, just falling to the back. This is a strategy that I myself have utilized a couple times, going to the rear early on, trying to avoid the big one, but he's going to really have to be careful that he doesn't end up losing the draft. If you lose the draft here, especially with only 60 laps, you never know. This thing may run green all the way to the end, and all of a sudden you find yourself out of the race with no chance to come back up and rejoin the field.
Yeah, and to carry off that point too, Robert, you know, when these trucks are in a pack like this, the speeds increase dramatically than them driving by themselves, and we actually see quite a bit of separation between these trucks right now. But when you see the top 5 there, they're pretty grouped up tight, and that line's going to actually pull forward away from the outside line now because they've got that stream of air flowing straight over the top of those hoods and noses.
As you see right here, the first side-by-side action is the 18 of Aaron Brown up on the outside of, I do believe that to be Marcus Ludovico on the bottom. Actually, I do stand corrected. I think that might be, I actually can't get a number on that truck, Wyatt. Some of these guys do run custom numbers, which do not align with what we're seeing in the race. We have a little bit of shuffling back here. William Kruska just lost a couple of positions as Cash James works his way up through the field, and is number 93 looking for a sponsor there, as Sean Stevens does continue to lead here on lap number 3.
Yeah, and I think the leader of that top line is actually Aaron Brown. But, you know, as I say that, David Grantham actually jumped up top, and that high line's starting to make some momentum now, Robert.
Absolutely. As you know, we do look off the nose of Aaron Brown. He is right on the rear end of that David Grantham machine, as Grantham is pulling side by side just about with our race leader, Sean Stevens, currently alongside Jason Chilton. Now scored David Grantham temporarily in the race lead. I think this will change quite a few times as we continue on here. Of course, you know, early on in the event, looks like we had an incident with Russell Peets. Just ended up, I believe, in the inside wall, as we'll take a look here on the Maconi Entertainment replay and see what happened with Russell Peets. Oh, I think his steering may have just given out on him there, as all of a sudden Peets in the inside wall, first the outside wall, and then back to the inside wall, and that is very early on for incidents there. Whoa, that's some crazy movement that we're seeing up front here by these guys. I think that was Kenny Zeems that jumped down to the bottom. Is up front, it is David Grantham now ahead of Sean Stevens with help from Aaron Brown. Jason Chilton there on the bottom. So these guys definitely getting some assistance from that inside lane as we see the pushing here. Bottom lane seems really well connected, as does that high side, but I think the high side might have just a little bit more help.
Yeah, and with those 4 trucks on the top side, really nose to tail, whereas the bottom's a little separated after the first 2. You're going to see these runs get increasingly larger as they exit the corners going down the straightaways, as we see actually the top side taking the lead coming to the end of lap number 5 here.
Absolutely. A little bit further back in the field, we do still have a bunch of cars up here in the front pack. A little bit of a breakaway back here that is William Kruska in the 6, Cash James in the 93, and the 22 of Philip Resch just a little bit behind. Timothy Goff hanging right there as well, and then a little bit back to Edgar Uribe, but pretty much everyone all together still at this point. If this was you out there, Wyatt, as you know, we're already 10% of the way into the event. Where would you want to be running on this racetrack?
Well, I think the easy answer is going to be the top side, but there's a little bit of a nuance here. Top side tends to be faster if those trucks can get grouped up. The bottom side tends to stack up more often than not, so you'll see better runs come out of the high side, but more stability on the bottom. So I'd probably want to be on the high side, but here's the tricky part. I want to be in a place I can avoid the wreck. That's not the high side. So it's really, what do you feel is happening in the field right now? Is there some craziness going on, or are we kind of just riding as a pack? You know, you kind of have to feel that out. But for now, right now, looking at these guys, I'd say I'd feel more comfortable on the top side.
So now, obviously, you just mentioned that you'd be more comfortable in the top side, but do you want to be at the front of the pack, or do you want to be hanging out back? I know for me personally, typically, I try to hang back for the start of the race and basically until the last, I guess, smaller segment of the event, and then I start working my way up through the field as we nearly had 3 wide there. But where would you be running? Would you be up at the front or at the rear, as David Grantham up front on the high side does have the lead? I wonder if he's going to clear him from the 27.
I think we have a lap car actually right here. This is going to get a little bit tricky coming off the corner.
That is Russell Peets that we did just see hit the inside wall not too long ago, inside and outside wall, as he is running on the apron here. We're going to have to watch down into the corner. Can Peets make it back onto the racetrack without spinning out? We know this Daytona apron can be treacherous, as up front we see a change for the lead. It is Aaron Brown now on the bottom prevailing. We have a little bit of 3 wide action here just about. Of course, as we go up to take a look, it changes up on us as Jake Finch falls to the rear. That was, I think, Thomas Nadeau that was going 3 wide in the middle here, Wyatt.
Yeah, and to answer your question before all the chaos there coming on the back.
Let's get back to that.
You know, I think lap number 9, it really depends on where you qualify, obviously, but you can make moves in these vehicles. And as you see, the Highline getting a huge run right now, actually. They're already back up to the 3rd truck in line. But I think the best answer is if you're going to run single file like these guys kind of were starting to before that outside line formed again, I'd rather be the 3rd car in line. I'd feel safe. I don't have a whole lot of duty other than just staying close. But if they're side by side like this and being aggressive, I think I want to be the 3rd car from the back. You know, so I have a little security behind me just in case I start to drift away from the pack.
The 3rd car from the rear is definitely an interesting thing to hear from you there. I think that would bring us all the way back to around Eric Heater here in the 26 car. I don't think there's too many cars behind him. Actually, just a few more back there, but definitely an interesting thought there. Like I mentioned, I do try to hang back. See a little bit of blinking there. That does appear to be the Cash James machine, which can cause a little bit of chaos here at Daytona. And obviously, if you're running around that Cash James machine, you're definitely hoping that he is not going to blink right in front of you and cause a big wreck.
I tell you what, we might want to keep an eye on the 33 truck here tonight, second on the outside. He is trying his hardest to make this line stay up there. I saw him get a little bit loose coming out of 4 and kind of fight it, trying to stay on the back bumper, the 60 truck, all the way into the tri-oval. That was good driving, but a little scary probably for the 60.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, that is the 33 of Marcus Ludovico. As you see him giving a great push now to David Grantham. Grantham back up on the outside of the 2nd place car of Stevens, and now about to make his move on Aaron Brown, which we may see momentarily with some great help by Ludovico, as you alluded to just moments ago. But once again, looking at this pack, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and a bunch more twos there, as everyone continuing to battle side by side. Aaron Brown, I do want to mention, and you know, we failed to notice this earlier, Aaron Brown is up 12 spots to now be your race leader. Started back in 13th, currently in the lead. So really shows what these guys can do with a little bit of help and a little bit of draft. Aaron Brown's really just done a fantastic job.
Yeah, and he has done a fantastic job. One thing we haven't mentioned here tonight, though, is we're already 12 laps into this event. Um, the vehicles or the trucks that are pushing these lead cars have to be very careful. That's why you see them jumping off the bumper a little bit, because these trucks will start to overheat, and if they overheat, you're going to lose power, potentially blow up. Could be a bad situation for the entire pack.
That's actually a great point, Wyatt. As we do ride on board here, this is the driver, Marcus Ludovico, currently second on that outside lane, riding on board with him, and you can just see how close they are to the vehicle ahead of him here, and that really does block off any fresh air going to the engine, and can definitely cause those temperatures to rise rather quickly.
Saw a little bit of a bobble out of the 3 truck there, about 5 or 6 deep on the outside. I'm wondering, now that these tires have worn down a little bit, if we're starting to see some loose conditions around this track here at night.
That's something that we've seen in the next gen car. Of course, yourself and myself, we've experienced that this week racing that next gen vehicle. As you mentioned, 3 of Thomas Nadeau getting a little bit squirrely there, as we actually see it right now on the screen. Nearly stepped out right into the wall. Actually nearly stepped Nadeau out of the race with that incident there, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on when it comes to tire wear. Of course, we are almost a quarter of the way into this event, and once again, folks, of course, we are coming up on it there. We have a car in the wall. I think that might be Jake Finch.
Yeah, and we could kind of see that brewing. Everybody did a great job avoiding him, but we have 3 wide further in the pack. Actually, the 3 car gets contact, or the 3 truck, excuse me.
Thomas Nadeau now with help from Edgar Uribe here, trying to work their way back up. Scott Rickard on the outside of them there, as you see Uribe jump up in front of Rickard. Here comes our friend there, Thomas Nadeau, back up to the high side. Up front, though, we're going to go back to that battle here. It is David Grantham just ahead of Aaron Brown. Help from Marcus Ludovico on the high side. Sean Stevens on the bottom, as just behind Ludovico there, we do see Hunter Giogan trying to help out with that battle as well. These guys are really just doing their best to try to get up there. And folks, we are on lap 16 here in the event. Once again, as we noted, we will go silent on lap 17 in honor of the victims of the Parkland shooting there just a few years ago. And that's a great cause here by ShineMSD and Sim Racers for Mental Health. So lap 17, once these trucks do hit the line, Wyatt and I will go silent for 1 lap. As they come off of turn number 4, we're heading down into the tri-oval, and once again, we will be right back with you on lap number 18. And we are back here once again. That was a nice lap of silence there in honor of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting victims and their families. If any of them are watching tonight, our hearts continue to be with you, and we thank groups like ShineMSD and Sim Racers for Mental Health for putting on events like this, trying to bring awareness once again, and not letting the memory go away of the victims of that shooting and that terrible day. So Welcome back to Daytona. This is the ShineMSD 150. Aaron Brown in the number 18 car does continue to lead over Sean Stevens, David Grantham, and Jason Chilton right there as well as Marcus Ludovico up in the top 5. If you're just joining us here on Maconi Entertainment, my name is Robert Hill Jr., and my color commentator tonight, of course, is Wyatt Canado. Wyatt, what are your thoughts so far here on the event?
Well, it's been a great race. There's been a little bit of craziness. I think these guys are still trying to figure out their trucks. But one person I want to make note of here as we progress almost to 33% in this race, the 27 of Sean Stevens has done a phenomenal job pushing the 18 of Aaron Brown pretty much this entire run since he got to the front. He's doing a great job of staying off him in the corners, keeping his truck cool, and then pushing them down the straightaways to avoid the top side getting an even bigger run than they're getting.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point, Wyatt. Sean has done a fantastic job. So once again, we do see David Grantham retaking the lead here. We still have a bunch of drivers still on the racetrack. Looks like on the lead lap right now is still 24 trucks. Jake Finch, is about to go a lap down here, about 2/3 of the way down the lap at this point. It's just right here. We do see the 59 of Edgar Uribe. One thing he's doing, you can kind of see, I'm not sure if it's stepping out on him a little bit, but he's trying to work the lines to find the best spot to run. As you see just ahead of the leaders there, that is Russell Peets, one of our lap cars. He is about to go 4 laps down here earlier. Oh, he goes to the high side. And he just checked up David Grantham. And we have an incident here. Oh, there we go.
We have the 33 truck upside down. That's Marcus Ludovico.
Ludovico involved. Spencer Torrance also involved here. We will take a look on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what happened, but we did see Russell Peets get up into the high lane ahead of the race leaders. Typically, that is not the move here, but we'll take a look and see what happened as we'll go out to one of our television cams. I'm going to back this up just a wee bit further, Wyatt, just so we can see if we can get a better picture of what happened here. I'm going to go right to Russell Peets so we can see the development of this issue, and we'll actually go from our blimp camera. You can see he gets up to the high line there. That causes Grantham to have to check up, and that just triggers the incident with Ludovico. Picks up a couple other cars. Torrance also involved. Now these guys find themselves heavily damaged and most likely out of contention here after a lap car gets right in the way. It's really, really unfortunate for these guys, as you know, we are likely now going to come up on our first pit stop of the day, just past 1/3 of the way into tonight's event here. Wyatt, and what are your thoughts on the incident that just took place there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be super critical, but when the leaders passed Russell Peets last time, he jumped on the apron for him to get off the racing surface altogether. I'm not too sure what he was thinking there, if he thought they were going to be able to dive low, but typically in a situation like that, you really want to see the lap car, as the leaders, you want to see the lap car hold his line so they're as predictable as possible.
That's exactly correct, Wyatt. You definitely want to know what we're going to see out of a lap car, where they are going to go, and how to pass them, of course. So as we see the drivers come down pit road here at Daytona in the ShineMSD 150, we are also going to take a quick pit stop, and we'll be right back with you momentarily.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
We are back here at Daytona International Speedway. Of course, this is the ShineMSD 150. You did just see a commercial spot there from our friends at Maconi Setup Shop, but of course tonight is a Maconi Entertainment production. Be sure to head over to MaconiSetupShop.com. You can purchase your setups while you're there and check out Maconi Entertainment to book some broadcasting. This is the ShineMSD 150, Healing Through the Arts 150, actually. It is a charity focusing on bringing healing to the victims and families of Parkland and Stoneman Douglas High School shootings. Core values of integrity, community, and good stewardship. They also operate Camp Shine, a summer program focusing on art therapy in the South Florida communities. And of course, this has been put on by Sim Racers for Mental Health, and next week they are running their Sim Racers for Mental Health 500. Check out the Sim Racers for Mental Health Discord, which is linked over on Facebook to sign up and compete. It is a free event, and be sure to check it out. Wyatt, we are back here 24 laps into this event. Looks like we are going to go green once again here in just a moment, as the pace car is going to make that left-hand turn onto pit road. Very good start by these guys. Unfortunate incident with a lap car brought out the caution as green flag's in the air. It is Drew Bernardi on the lead spot here. Just behind him now, dropping down, Aaron Brown with Sean Stevens, Jason Chilton, and Glenn Fagan up there in the top 5 as Aaron Brown goes to the high side, trying to make a move around Drew Bernardi.
Yeah, and I was looking at it because hadn't seen the 86 truck up there that much early on tonight. He actually stayed out. He was the only truck that stayed out at pit road and did not take fuel or tires. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for him. I bet he was probably hoping to have a few more friends stay out with him, but I don't think anybody else did.
Yeah, just taking a look at the pitting information, absolutely every truck except for race leader Drew Bernardi did come down pit road. So you have to wonder how much fuel is on board the Bernardi machine, as we are about 5 laps actually from the halfway point here tonight. So you have to think Drew Bernardi may need to come down shortly. And will that potentially cause some chaos behind him, as the field will have to work their way around that 86 truck?
Yeah, and I was listening to what drivers were communicating, in practice here before this race, and everybody's thinking it was a one-stop race. So I'm not sure if that stop they took was going to be enough fuel. It's going to be close, I think, but I believe they'll be able to make it for everybody but Bernardi for now.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to tell at this point. Obviously, different drivers are going to burn fuel at a different rate. So right now, the Bernardi machine has fallen a little bit further back. So this gives him the opportunity to save a little bit of fuel, as you do see him riding behind Aaron Brown and Jason Chilton on the bottom. On the high side, though, Timothy Groff and William Kruska joining the top 5, with Cash James just behind them.
Yeah, and Kruska actually earlier in the race, I think he saw the chaos starting to brew and decided it was a good idea to ride in the back. And now that the first big one has taken place already, I think he's decided, yeah, let's get to the front because it wasn't fun avoiding it the first time.
Absolutely. You know, William Kruska is the man behind the scenes on pretty much all of these sim racer for mental health races. You know, he puts in a lot of effort to try to put this stuff on. I've had the privilege of taking part in some previous events that he's run, and you know, I actually won one of them. As we have some contact here. Looks like Jamie Smith, Jake Finch there on the apron. We are going to stay green. I see Thomas Nadeau was just about 3 wide. Cash James now falling to the rear. So a little bit of shuffling up in the midfield now. But, you know.
Sorry to interrupt you, Robert. I think the 8 truck got some severe damage. He was almost 90 degrees sideways on the track through that. So I'm surprised we didn't see a caution there.
What we'll do is we'll take a look on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine, see what happened. You can see Robert Smith incredibly slow right there. We'll go out to one of our cameras here. Looks like contact from Uribe there. Edgar Uribe gets into the left rear quarter panel of Robert Smith, gets him around. That is heavy damage on board that machine. We'll see if he's able to continue on in the event. But, you know, one guy I do just quickly want to take a peek at here. He was running up front for a lot of the opening parts of the race. Actually, as we see Drew Bernardi now falling to the rear. I wonder if he's getting set for his pit stop. Let's watch that, and then we'll take a look at the man I was about to point out here is the 86.
We actually have a lead change too. Sorry to interrupt you once more, but Kruska has now gone to the lead in that 6 truck.
As I pointed out, Drew Bernardi has come to pit road there. As you mentioned, William Kruska now out front. Help from Jason Chilton. So great job by Kruska there, trying to put on a show here tonight. And that's what these guys have done so far. Of course, we've had our incidents, which does happen, as I thought we were about to have on there with Thomas Nadeau. Looked like he was stepping out a little bit, but I think it may have been the Timothy Groff machine as he was having some issues there. Yeah, we see Groff, a little bit of connection, but, you know, it does happen. As we now have a second pack here, Wyatt. That's something that's developed as a result, I do believe, of the Edgar Uribe and Robert Smith incident that happened not too long ago, as these guys have broken off a little bit from the lead pack. I want to go back up real quick. A little bit of a battle here. Thomas Nadeau now leading the high side. Not too much help, just Eric Heater behind him, as I thought we were about to get a car merge up in front of the leaders, as that would have been quite scary right there. But the guy I wanted to point out as someone that had been running up front all night and now finds himself way back in the second pack, actually running by himself now, is David Grantham. He was our race leader or second place for pretty much the entire opening run, and now he's back in 18th, Wyatt.
Yeah, and that's part of the product of this pack racing here at a track like Daytona is the shuffling of cars. I mean, if you get stuck in the wrong lane, or, you know, even there's a little bit of contact in front of you, there's no telling what's going to happen, if you're going to have damage or if you're going to lose the draft, because these guys can only really soak up in the draft about a second off the pack.
Real quickly, Wyatt, we do have another lead change. Thomas Nadeau to the point. Eric Heater leading the high side. Back to you.
Oh, I was just saying, you know, about a second off the pack, that's when you really start to lose the capabilities. And as a single car, it gets even harder to hold onto that pack if you're separated from them.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point there. You have to watch for any sort of separation. Now, Eric Heater takes the lead. It's kind of like a revolving door here, as we see Sean Stevens now going to the high side. He's been up front pretty much all night long. Just a note from the rear, Jake Finch has come down pit road. Thomas Nadeau on the apron here, trying to make a move. Looks like he's going to try to fall back in line. Don't know if he'll have the opportunity. He right there gets up in front of the 26, a Heater, but that could have been a devastating moment, as we see Kruska now falling to the tail of this pack, just ahead of Timothy Groff and Spencer Torrance. This has been a wild sequence since we got going green again.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Race Control's going to actually take a look at that 3 truck for making that pass on the 26, I believe it was, in the tri-oval on the apron under that yellow line. But he might have lost enough spots to where it didn't matter overall. But yeah, it's been chaos. You know, we've seen trucks jumping from lane to lane, really aggressive with their moves tonight. It's put on some really good racing for the broadcast.
Absolutely. You know, for a 60-lap show, it has certainly been packed with action all around here. As I keep getting drawn to this 3 truck of Nadeau, he just wants to go. He does not have any stay and try to run in line in him. He just wants to go and work his way up there. As you see Thomas Nadeau on the outside of Cash James here, trying to get up to the Glenn Fagan machine.
Yeah, he's been really persistent on getting up or around the next car in front of him. He's getting those runs with the help of the 26 now, and he just keeps jumping to the outside, but with no help, he's not going to really be able to advance himself long term. He has a great run here through the tri-oval, but it's going to dwindle going into turn 1.
Yeah, as we briefly rode on board, here's his help now. Aaron Brown goes to the high side of the Sean Stevens machine. Now Nadeau has a little bit of help. Looks like those guys are getting a little loose right there. Probably some aerodynamic push. Is he looking 3 wide right there? I think he is. As we have a big wreck there. Cash James just breaks through in just ahead of these guys, as we are definitely going to have to go back on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what just happened. We just had a lot of vehicles involved in that wreck right there, as we'll pull up the replay now and see what happened.
Oh man, it's never a good sight when you see the leaders wrecking, especially with the whole pack behind him.
Looks,
but it looks like
the 18.
Yeah, it looks like a 3 wide move. Kind of just not sure. The 3 might have jumped to his outside and he didn't realize it until a little too late.
Just taking a look here. Yeah, the 7, a little bit of netcode from the 7 up into the 18. Sends the 27 around. Nadeau involved. Looks like the 14 involved of Jason Chilton. Quite a few cars were indeed involved in that incident. But, you know, the biggest benefactors of that wreck are indeed Glenn Fagan and Cash James, as they were able to break through, as well as Thomas Nadeau. But Nadeau definitely has a bit of damage there. You can see it on the left side of the number 3 truck. Sorry, that is not a car, that is a truck, as these guys will likely think about coming down pit road. 25 laps remaining here, Wyatt, so 35 laps in. Definitely a great start by these guys, being able to work their way up and try to put on a bit of a show here, as we'll watch Glenn Fagan, see if he comes down pit road. I think he is. Yes, indeed. Glenn Fagan to pit road, as we watch pretty much the whole field coming down now. I think
and
only a couple cars are going to stay out.
What this tells me is tire wear is ultra important to these guys here tonight. I think they would have been able to save enough fuel under this caution to make it, but I think the tires mattered a lot. But after this pit stop, Robert, if you don't mind, could we take a look at the 6 truck navigating through that incident? Because I think I saw something pretty cool out of him.
We can definitely take a look at that. Just give me one moment to pull that up. That is the William Kruska machine. We will pull that up now on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine. Riding on board with William Kruska through that wreck. He was looking at finger licking good on that 14 truck. A little bit of contact with the 14 there, but he was able to navigate through. Like I said, a little bit of damage on that left front. Likely did get that fixed up. But just an update for you folks. Spencer Torrance, now your race leader. Cash James in second. That is indeed Eric Heater in third. Timothy Groff fourth. Sean Stevens fifth. Hunter Giogigan there in sixth. Glenn Fagan seventh. Edgar Uribe in eighth. Jamie Smith in ninth. And the man we just rode on board with William Kruska finds himself in 10th.
Yeah, and those front two both started outside of the top 15, so that really shows, barring avoiding some incidents and whatnot, but the parity that this kind of track and this racing package brings is actually really cool, because these guys started among the last few rows in this field, and they've been able to work their way to the front, arguably in the best time of the race here as we come near the ending.
Well, I wouldn't quite say we're near the ending yet. Still another third of the race to go. Lights are off on the pace car. That's one thing I'm definitely liking here tonight. We aren't really dragging on the cautions too long. Sometimes you find you get to Daytona and it's like you're going to spend an hour just pacing around the racetrack, as we do see the cars doubling up here once again. Spencer Torrance and Cash James on the front row. They're pushing help will be Eric Heater on the bottom, Timothy Goff on the high side. So it'll be interesting to see which pair is able to get the best jump here, Wyatt. And I'm going to do something right now here, Wyatt, that we didn't do earlier on. 23 laps remaining. We've lost a few trucks here tonight, but who's your pick to win?
Oh man, it's a little too early to tell, because anything can happen in these final 22 laps or so when they come green. I think a guy who's had quite a bit of luck tonight, we just watched his onboard the 6 truck. But he is restarting in 10th, so that's going to be questionable. But, a guy who's been quiet all night, he's sitting on the outside of the front row right now. It's actually Cash James. I think I'm going to go with Cash James tonight. What about you, Robert?
Yeah, Cash James is always a good pick. It's been quite a few years since he's found victory lane in just about anything, except maybe the buffet line. Good buddy of mine, so I can throw that jab in there. But I'm going to go with Sean Stevens. He's just been so strong all night long, and I think he's going to work his way up to the front to take the victory tonight. Spencer Torrance on the loud pedal there in the restart zone, able to get a jump, but if you take a look, absolutely nobody is connected at the front. Cash James works his way to the bottom behind Eric Heater. Look at Heater, he's going to the high side. Cash James definitely going to follow him through, as this should shuffle Spencer Torrance back just a little bit. The 16 of Groff to the high side. Looks like Hunter Giogagan up there as well. Oh, that was very close between Cash James and the 99 of Torrance. They were not clear at all, as he found himself on the bottom lane, just about into the inside wall.
Yeah, that might have been one of those objects in the mirror are too close to appear instances as he jumped to the bottom there in the backstretch.
Yeah, my mirrors definitely do not say too close to appear, Wyatt, but that is definitely something that may have appeared on the mirror of the Cash James machine. One thing to point out here, you see the Timothy Groff machine. He has dealt with connection issues all night long. Having him out front can either be a benefit to this line or a real inconvenience. Somebody just went off onto the apron back here. It is the 03 of Kyle Campbell. He's able to merge back on. Doesn't look like he's going to have any help at all, though. So move Kyle Campbell all the way back into the 18th position.
Yeah, and we have a pretty good sized pack now. We, on the last run, we had them split off into about 2 packs, but it looks like everybody about 17th up is still connected, kind of. The main pack is probably the first 15 or so.
New leader here, Wyatt. It is Hunter Giogagan in the 77, just ahead of the Timothy Groff machine. On the high side, though, that's Edgar Uribe right there with help from my pick, Sean Stevens. So Stevens finding his way back up. Here comes William Kruska.
Yeah, and it looks like the 99 truck actually dropped down. He thought it was looking a little too crazy for him. That's Spencer Torrance.
Yeah, one thing he saw there was Kruska looking 3 wide, and he thought, you know what, 3 wide may not be for me at this point in the race. Still 20 to go, only 2/3 of the way through the event. Definitely moving at a quicker pace than I think anyone anticipated tonight, as sometimes Daytona is a caution breeder, as now another new leader here, Wyatt Edgar Uribe out front with help from Sean Stevens. On the bottom, Hunter Gioke again once again, but it looks like the high side is just better connected at this point.
Yeah, and he's actually going to protect down low, jump back up high. Pretty good work there, actually, as the leader for the first time, I believe, this tonight. You know, and that's the cool thing about Daytona is you'll see all these different leaders because of the lines and the way they run.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's going to be interesting to follow along, is the different lines that we see the leaders running. Uribe into the wall. We got a big one here.
Oh, yeah, and that's a...
Oh,
man.
no. That was devastating. There is my pick, Sean Stevens. Only thing he's picking is the hook into the front of that truck. David Grantham, the real winner, because he was not with the field there. We're going to have to take a look at that one on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what just happened. A lot happened there, but we will take a look. Edgar Uribe heavily damaged right there, as we will go up to our blimp view here. Why looks like he tried to make a move to protect the high line, and it just kick-started a huge chain reaction. You see multiple trucks involved there, heavy damage on many of them. So this will absolutely change the complexity of this here event.
Yeah, and looking at that move to protect the top side from Uribe, it looks like he just made the move, you know, a couple seconds too late. With the momentum that these lines will get, especially the top side, you really have to get up there to kill it a lot sooner than you would imagine, and I think that was just a little bit of a miscalculation, but huge consequences out of that.
Yeah, as we see Hunter Gioke again up here in front of Timothy Groff. Looks like the top two will stay out. Scott Rickard, William Kruska, and Aaron Brown coming down pit road, as a couple other trucks will join them. Looks like Eric Heater, Philip Resch, Jamie Smith, and Cash James will stay on the racetrack, as well as Spencer Torrance and Drew Bernardi. Wyatt, we're going to take one final commercial break here, and when we come back, we'll take you to the finish of the ShineMSD 150.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And we are back here in the ShineMSD Healing Through the Arts 150 here on Maconi Entertainment. Of course, tonight's race is provided by Sim Racers for Mental Health. They are having a Sim Racers for Mental Health 500 next week. check out the Sim Racers for Mental Health Discord, which is linked on Facebook, to sign up and compete. It is a free event, so be sure to check that out. Of course, ShineMSD, this is the Healing Through the Arts 150 tonight. ShineMSD is a charity focusing on bringing healing to the victims and families of Parkland and Stoneman Douglas High School shootings. Their core values are integrity, community, and good stewardship. And they operate Camp Shine, which is a summer program focusing on art therapy in the South Florida communities. And of course, tonight, this is Maconi Entertainment. Check out MaconiSetupShop.com for all your setup needs on iRacing as well. There is a tab on there for Maconi Entertainment. All your broadcasting needs, be sure to contact us today, and we'll be glad to get back to you and try to set something up. As the field comes off of turn number 4, it is Timothy Groff and Hunter Giogagan on the front row. 16 laps to go, coming to 15 as the pace car now takes the sharp left-hand turn onto pit road. It is Hunter Giogagan back in the Geico restart zone, and he's on the loud pedal.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see, after we've seen a couple of the big ones here tonight, how many of these trucks are still clean and polished. You know, I can't say there's going to be a whole lot, but that's typical racing for, you know, a track like Daytona. So we actually see the 93 almost made it 3 wide there in that restart.
Yeah, as we see the 93 there trying to work his way up through the field. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about that car up on the outside of the front row there. That is the Timothy Groff machine. Having him blinking a little bit is kind of throwing these guys off a little bit. They're not sure if they can pass him or what, because they don't really know where he is at certain points. But, you know, Cash James was contemplating making that 3 wide move. I don't know that he would actually do it until a little bit later. He's looking right now, though, Wyatt.
Yeah, and he's got a really good spot up there on the top with the 16 moving down with his connection issues. It's really going to give a great opportunity. And another person who's kind of snuck his way back in there is Drew Bernardi. He stayed out and ended up having to pit under green, but caution worked in his favor. And now he's already back up there second in line, battling to get back to the front.
You know, Wyatt, I do have to quickly point out here, the guy in second place on the bottom there, the 22 truck, that is Philip Resch. I don't know that we've actually mentioned him at all except for when it came to pitting, but that Sweet Tarts truck is looking really sweet right now as he has Hunter Giogagan behind him. I wonder if he's going to look Hunter Giogagan now to the high side. He has Cash James behind him as these guys look to work their way up to the race lead. Hunter Giogagan to the outside of Philip Resch, trying to get up to Timothy Groff.
Yeah, and looking at this pack, that last incident didn't seem to put a lot of guys in the garage so far. I mean, we still have, you know, 12, 15 trucks that can win this thing that are still competitive.
Yeah, taking a look, we do have 19 trucks still on the lead lap here in the event. Looks like we have actually about 19 still running at this point as well. Possibly a little bit more, maybe 20. Yeah, 22 trucks still running at this point. Things are getting a little bit more adventurous at the front. We see some guys trying some different moves, see what they can do to try to work their way up here. As we see William Kruska at the back here. I thought he was about to go 3 wide, but he's going to get back in line as we are 12 to go. We are quickly going to get to the 10 lap to go mark as now Eric Heater looks to the high side here. Now he jumps up there and he's going to try to work his way to the race lead. Eric Heater now scored as the leader just ahead of Hunter Giogagan. Here we go again.
Turned. Oh, and that one's going to
Oh, no. William Kruska just went up and over. That is a lot of trucks just caught up in that wreck. Kruska, wow. He is back on his wheels and driving right now. Not very well, but he is back on his wheels. We'll take a look on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what happened out front. That was catastrophic, though, as we jump to Our blimp here looks like he gets hooked by Hunter Geog again. A bunch of trucks piled in. We'll watch William Kruska here. He does go for a flip. Aaron Brown gets involved. Sean Stevens just breaks through, but another big one here at Daytona. Of course, it comes with the racetrack. That's normal here at Daytona, but rather unfortunate for those guys.
Yeah, and it's looks like it's going to severely damage a lot of the guys that we saw up front for most of the night. You know, the 18 of Aaron Brown was up there really early, and he got a big chunk of that. Kruska in the 6, you know, we just saw him on his lid, and I'm not sure if that truck's going to be repairable to be competitive to win this thing. But you know, a couple guys who really didn't want to see that but might be happy with the outcome is the two guys leading this race right now who started near the back of the field.
As we are 9 laps remaining here, this is a great time to mention some of the upcoming broadcasts here on Maconi Entertainment. Tomorrow night is the 2023 Maconi Drivers Gauntlet Series, round number 3. 300 laps in the super late model at Five Flags Speedway. Monday night, we're back at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps with the Ignite Racing League JP Alfonso Studios GT3 Series. And then Tuesday, come right back here, Stock Car World Series at Bristol Dirt. If you want your race broadcasted, head over to MaconiSetupShop.com, click the Maconi Entertainment link, and give us a line, and we will get right back to you and see what we can work out. But back on track, Wyatt, it is Hunter Geog again.
Yeah, it is. Real quickly, what was the track they were running on Monday night? I'm sorry, I just want to hear that one more time.
Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and
I don't think you could have said it at all.
I wouldn't even have tried. That is fantastic job, Robert. So we are getting ready to go back green here. What are you expecting to see in these final 10 laps?
Yeah, you know, I am expecting a little bit of chaos in these next couple laps. We're going to be 8 laps remaining when we go green. We have Hunter Geog again, Jamie Smith up front, Kyle Campbell, Kenny Zeems, and Ken Zeems up there as well. You know, I didn't even notice we had 2 Zeems in this race until just now. Blake Massengill, Robert Smith, Drew Bernardi, Cash James, and David Grantham up in the top 10. I think we got to watch guys like David Grantham, Cash James coming from that last row of the top 10, see if they can work their way up there. As green flag back in the air, we are racing with 8 laps to go in the ShineMSD 150. It is Hunter Geog again out front.
And, you know, on that last restart and throughout that small little run we had, we noticed the top line was starting to develop more and the pushes were getting a little more aggressive. And I expect nothing less to come out of it in this run. I think we're going to see a lot more aggression out of all these guys on track. And I think we're going to see some really good pushes down the backstretches. The 0-3s actually the whole inside line just left the leader.
Yeah, Hunter Geoghegan has lost the lead, gets passed. He's all the way back in 5th now as Kyle Campbell, Kenny Zeems, and Ken Zeems work their way up and around him as well. Blake Massengill there. We see Robert Smith. Robert Smith was on pit road earlier after being involved in an incident. Wyatt, now he has a shot here with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, and he looks like he got that damage fixed very well. I'm not sure if there's a fast repair tonight, but that thing looks spotless now. And, it couldn't have come in a better time for him to peak up here in the top 10.
Yeah, as we do see Kyle Campbell leading this thing. Kenny and Ken just behind him here. We do see a truck up on the high side a little bit further back. That is Jamie Smith trying to work his way up there with that back part of the field here. Of course, they are chasing down Timothy Groff just ahead of them. Looks like Spencer Torrance is stuck on the high side. He does get down as well. We are coming to 6 to go. It is Kyle Campbell, Kenny Zeems, and Ken Zeems with Blake Massengill absolutely ready to pounce here as we have another incident here. Jamie Smith, Spencer Torrance, they have hit the apron. We are going to take a look on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what happened to Jamie Smith and Spencer Torrance here. As you can see, yeah, it looks like the 5 truck of Jamie Smith just comes down across the nose of Spencer Torrance. Both of them go for a spin. They don't hit anything, but I want to take another look and just see how close Jamie Smith got to that inside wall. We're going to ride on board here with Jamie Smith. Take a look at this. Wow, he got very close to the end of that pit wall. That could have been catastrophic, but Wyatt, what I'm seeing here, we're going to come around, pick up the pace car with 5 laps to go. Probably about 2 to 3 pacing laps. Are we getting to the point where we're going to have a natural green-white checkered here?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a natural green-white checkered, which is going to be interesting because that gives these guys, a little bit more time, hypothetically speaking, as far as, if another caution comes out, another incident happens, they've still got a couple more attempts, and it'll be interesting to see if anybody's going to pit here. I can't imagine anybody who wasn't involved in that is going to pit, and so that will put us in a very interesting spot. But one guy I want to point out, I saw him right before that caution came out. We saw him lose the pack earlier and was driving by himself, and now he's back up in the top 8. That is the 60 truck of David Grantham. David
has done a fantastic job, Wyatt. As I think you were about to say as I cut you off there, I'll let you finish your point here, and then we'll get back to David Grantham once again.
Well, you nailed it there. He has done a fantastic job working his way back up there. He was actually making some pretty good moves, too, to pick off a truck at a time and was working his way back up there.
Yeah, we're going to take a run through the field as they run right now. This is Kyle Campbell, your race leader. Just behind him in second place, we do find Kenny Zeems. Ken Zeems running in third. Just to note, Kyle Campbell up 11 spots, Kenny Zeems up 6, and Ken Zeems up 7 spots. Blake Massengill up 5 spots to the 4th place here. Hunter Geoghegan up 6 spots to run in 5th right now. Robert Smith did start in 4th, finds himself in 6th right now. But you know what? Although it shows that he's lost 2 positions, Robert Smith has worked his butt off tonight trying to work his way back up here. We saw him on pit road earlier after an incident. Now back in 6th. Drew Bernardi up 13 spots to the 7th position. He's tied for the biggest gain with a guy we'll talk about shortly. David Grantham down 1 spot running 8th. Timothy Groff, the other one, up 13 spots just ahead of this truck. He's blinking, so we can't really show him. He is up 13 spots to 9th. Jason Chilton down 7 to the 10th position. Then we find just behind them, Eric Heater just took the bus stop. He is in the 11th position. Cash James in 12th. Philip Resch 13th, Scott Rickard 14th, Spencer Torrance 15th, Russell Peets there in 16th, and then on pit road we have Sean Stevens, Jamie Smith, Edgar Uribe, Glenn Fagan, William Kruska, Aaron Brown, Thomas Nadeau, Jake Finch, Marcus Ludovico, and Evan Lambert did not make the call here tonight. Looks like the lights are about to go off on the iRacing.com pace car here to put us 3 laps to go. One more lap until green, as we do see your race leader Kyle Campbell getting ready here. Lights are indeed off on the pace car, so it will be a natural green-white checkered when we go green here in just a moment's time here.
Yeah, and this is where I think we're going to see the most aggression we've seen all race. Another caution's not guaranteed, so these guys are going to be doing everything they can to push these lines forward, and that's where it can get really tricky. And if there's an accident, Robert, where do you want to be besides the front row?
Ooh, that's tough, Wyatt, because at this point right now, anything can happen. You can be somebody like Spencer Torrance back here in 14th, and you could still win this race even without a wreck. So I think the place you want to be is definitely on the inside line to avoid the incident if you're towards the front. But if you're towards the back, you have to be on the high side. You have to be looking 3 wide. 3 wide through the middle does not often work. Typically with netcode, of course, this is simulation racing, guys, so of course there are going to be a few differences in the servers, which can cause some netcode, which we saw earlier tonight, which doesn't help when you go 3 wide through the middle. So you want to be looking on the high side. You want to be ready to pounce. You have to line up with somebody good to get you up to the front. You're going to work the lines. You're going to jump to the high side. You're going to get scared, but you got to go. As the pace car comes down pit road, Kyle Campbell enters the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. 2 laps to go here in the ShineMSD 150. Kenny Zeems got one heck of a jump on the high side with help from Blake Massengill. Sorry, I really messed up right there, as Kenny Zeems is side by side with Kyle Campbell. Great push by Massengill, but on the bottom it is Ken Zeems pushing the Campbell machine. Is Ken Zeems going to push Campbell past Kenny Zeems to help Campbell take the win over what I'm assuming is either his father or his son?
Yeah, and this is really going to be important to see here if this top line can form up quick, because if they can't, they're going to be unable to win this race. They're not going to find a way to build the momentum quickly in a lap. But if they're starting to get formed up now, and that 60 car is coming up to the second car in line on the outside, they're starting to get a run as we come to the white flag.
As we come to the white flag, Spencer Torrance did just enter pit road. It is Kyle Campbell on the bottom here, leading this thing with help from Ken Zeems on the high side. Kenny Zeems and Blake Massengill here coming for an opportunity to take the victory. Is it going to be somebody from this front row? Are we going to see someone like a David Grantham go for it? Looks like we do have the 05. Scott Rickard up there on the high side, 3 wide down the back straightaway. Doesn't look like he's going to have the momentum, but here comes Kenny Zeems on the high side right now. He's trying to work his way up. Here comes David Grantham on that high side. Is he going to get it? I think it's going to be Kyle Campbell, but we'll take a look here as they come to the line. It is indeed Kyle Campbell taking the victory over Ken Zeems and Hunter Geoghegan, Wyatt.
Yeah, and congratulations to Kyle Campbell. Was pretty quiet till late, and he just kind of snuck up in there. And, I'm not sure if Ken Zeems was committed to his back bumper or not, but that high line faded there in 3 and 4 once they went 3 wide, and he might have had an opportunity, but a second place is going to be good either way.
Most definitely indeed. Is Kyle Campbell going to come around to celebrate his victory here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway? Once again, Kyle Campbell victorious over Ken Zeems and Hunter Giogigan. Robert Smith and Kenny Zeems rounding out the top 5. David Grantham in 6th. Blake Massengill back in 7th. Drew Bernardi comes home in the 8th position. Scott Rickard and Jason Chilton rounding out the top 10. Burn it down. Kyle Campbell, you are victorious in the ShineMSD 150 here tonight.
What a great job there at the end for the 0-3 too. I mean, he held his line sturdy, and he was, he was looking in that rearview mirror, making sure that the lines were not coming for him. Did a fantastic job, and he's going to come home with the victory, and that's everything you want in a race like Daytona, and he got it.
As we take a look at the official results, of course, we did just mention Kyle Campbell takes the victory over Ken Zeems and Hunter Giogigan rounding out the podium. Robert Smith, Kenny Zeems rounding out the top 5 there. Blake Massengill, Drew Bernardi, as well as Scott Rickard, Jason Chilton rounding out the top 10. It looks like potentially David Grantham may have picked up a penalty there, as I'm not actually seeing him on that top 10. Looks like he scored in 17th, so potentially a change there. Timothy Groff scored in 10th right now. Philip Resch, Cash James, Russell Peets, Eric Heater, Sean Stevens, Spencer Torrens, as well as David Grantham, Jamie Smith, and Edgar Uribe. Glenn Fagan rounding out the top 20. William Kruska, Aaron Brown, Thomas Nadeau, Jake Finch, Marcus Ludovico, and Evan Lambert rounding out the 26-car field here tonight. Just taking a look down in the waiting room, seeing if we have anyone standing by. We're going to send a commercial break one last time as we work to get your top 3 up here into the podium.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And we are back here. It is the ShineMSD 150 on Maconi Entertainment. We just had a fantastic race here. Wyatt Kyle Campbell taking the victory over Ken Zeems and Hunter Giogigan. And speaking of Hunter, we do have him standing by with you for a 3rd place interview.
Hunter, welcome to the booth. I am Wyatt. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on your 3rd place finish tonight. You know, you led 8 laps tonight. You did a really good job staying out of trouble for the most part. Talk us through that final restart and that final lap. And was there anything else you could have done to maybe get up there and battle for that win?
Not really. Honestly, the restart before that was pretty much my race. I started first there, and then they all trained me on the outside. And then that last restart, everyone kind of knows if you don't start first or second, you're pretty much doomed if you get trapped on the bottom. That's what happened to me.
When you guys were coming through turn 3 and 4, I noticed the top side started to fade back a little bit. Do you think that could have been an opportunity for you to jump up there, or do you think you wouldn't have had any help?
Yeah, the guys on the outside, for the most part, were a couple of guys that got caught up in that wreck, and I just kind of figured if I went up there, they were going to have the horsepower or arrow to push me, so try to tuck in line and make a move at the end, and unfortunately, the guy in second just really didn't make a move to open up the door.
Yeah, it seemed like he was pretty committed to the back bumper of Kyle Campbell. But, you know, how did the race go from the driver's perspective? Can you tell us about how, how were the runs going and what did you see during those incidents and whatnot we saw on track?
Yeah, for the most part, the first half of the race was pretty clean, pretty easy going. What I noticed for the most part was once we all started got pushing, the rear ends on these cars were kind of loose, especially in the turn. Even if you barely nudge someone, it'd really get them out of shape and send them to the wall.
Do you think that played a major factor into why we saw a lot of incidents tonight?
Yeah, like usually with these trucks, it seems like you can push just a smidge going into the turn and be fine. But like I said, with these tonight, you barely get into them, and as soon as you got in the turn, they were getting loose, and you can't really correct it once that happens.
Absolutely, Hunter. Well, before we let you go, we want to say congratulations. I'll say it on behalf of Robert and myself. Congratulations on your third place tonight. Do you have anybody you want to shout out? Any sponsors, family, friends, or anybody watching today?
Mainly just want to shout out the sim racers for mental health. They always put on these events, and they're really fun to do. Great group of guys, and always a great cause.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, Hunter, congratulations on your third place finish. We hope to see you up here soon.
Thank you.
Well, Wyatt, that was, of course, Hunter Geoghegan, our third place finisher here tonight at Daytona. Once again, this was the ShineMSD 150 tonight with the Sim Racers for Mental Health group. Doesn't look like we have any of our other podium finishers here tonight, but once again, I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Of course, this has been Maconi Entertainment. Visit MaconiSetupShop.com for all your setup shop needs, as well as your entertainment booking. You can check out Maconi Setup Shop, as well as Maconi Competizone, putting on some of our own in-house events, such as the Gauntlet Series tomorrow night. Of course, Sim Racers for Mental Health. This was the ShineMSD Healing Through the Arts 150. Sim Racers for Mental Health is putting on their own 500 next week, so check out the Sim Racers for Mental Health Discord, which is linked over on Facebook, to sign up and compete in another free event, which is bringing some great focus to a great cause. Of course, ShineMSD. This was the Healing Through the Arts 150. ShineMSD is a charity focusing on bringing healing to the victims and families of Parkland and Stoneman Douglas High School shootings. They have core values of integrity, community, and good stewardship. They also operate Camp Shine, which is a summer program focusing on art therapy in the South Florida communities. Wyatt, once again, taking a look, doesn't look like we have the top two finishers, but how about some final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I just want to say I think we overall really did a great job tonight. These drivers on the track did a fantastic job putting on a good show for everyone involved, and I'm happy to be a part of something so good tonight as the Sim Racers for Mental Health ShineMSD 150. Congratulations to Kyle Campbell and Ken and Hunter as well. I'm sad we don't get to talk to them.
Yeah, definitely sad that we don't get the opportunity to speak with them. But of course, thank you to William Kruska for putting this on. Thank you to all the racers that took part, and ShineMSD for everything they do. Before tonight, I'd never heard of them, but now after this broadcast, I'm going to head over to their website, check out what they have going on, and see how I can support, maybe make a cash donation or something along those lines to really help out with what they have to do. But before we get to our final words here tonight from myself, I do want to once again let you know about some future events here on Maconi. There is the 2023 Drivers Gauntlet Round 3 tomorrow night at Five Flags. Then Monday is the Ignite GT3 Series sponsored by JP Alfonso Studios at Spa. Then Tuesday, the E-Stock Car World Series at Bristol Dirt. But Wyatt, once again, thank you to you for coming and joining me in this broadcast. And as we wrap up tonight, we do thank our broadcast partners here at Maconi Entertainment. Calling the action and producing tonight was myself, Robert Hill Jr., alongside you, Wyatt Canadle, up here in the booth. As always, we would like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in for tonight's racing action. We hope to see you tomorrow night for round number 3 of the Driver's Gauntlet in that super late model car at Five Flags Speedway. 300 fast-paced and hard racing laps there. Until then, be sure to stay tuned to the Maconi Entertainment social media pages for all upcoming broadcasts. And once again, a special shout-out, of course, goes to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we wish you all a good night.